Number 1, we are graphing the function rule, so let's take a look at it. So the first thing we need to do is create a table of values. Make a t-chart with x and y. We're going to choose a couple values for x. Choose small values. I'm going to choose 0 and 1. Remember, 2 points make a line. So what I'm going to do is substitute in each of these values in for x. So we have 5 times 0 is 0 plus 1 would just be 1. Substitute in 1 in for x. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 1 is 6. So now we have 2 points we can graph. We have 0, 1, and 1, 6. So let's graph them. To graph it, I'm going to click this or this to make the graph larger. And now I'm going to graph my 2 points. It's a line, so I'm going to click the line. So I start by graphing at 0, 1. And then the next point is 1, 6. So start at 1 and go up to 6. Click it, and now this is our line. So we click Save, click Check Answer, and that's the answer for number 1. To number 6, it says Graph the function rule. Tell whether the graph is continuous or discrete. The height h in inches of the juice in a 10-ounce bottle depends on the amount of juice J in ounces that he drank. This situation is represented by the function rule h equals 6 minus 0.6j. So we need to graph it. In order to do that, we got to make a table of values. So let's do that. So we make our x and y table. I'm going to choose values from 0 to 5. I like to choose a handful. You could also find a table of values on your calculator to see which ones you can graph, but I'll show you that in a different video, how to do that on a calculator. So now, x is going to represent j, and y is going to represent h. So I'm going to substitute these values in for j to find what h or y is, because this is the input and this is the output. So 0 in for j gives you 0.6 times 0, which is 0. 6 minus 0 is 6. That for the rest of the values gives me 5.4, 4.8, 4.2, 3.6, and 3. Now notice this is the only one here that's a whole number, so I'm going to use the 0.53 and then the 0.06 as my 2 points to graph. So let's go back and do that. So I'm going to click to enlarge the graph to graph it. Click this one because it's a line. So start at 0, go up to 6, and then go to 5, and go up to 3. Click Save, check Answer, and the graph is correct. Now, we have a choice to say whether it's discrete or continuous. That's determined by our situation. Here we have the amount of juice. Now juice, we can have 0.3 ounces, 0.2 ounces, 1.5 ounces, 2 ounces. We can have any small or large amount of juice possible. It's not limited to whole number values. So that means our graph is going to be continuous because any part of this graph can be one of our solutions. If it was something that can only involve a whole, like a whole number, and meaning only the points that are whole number coordinates would work, then it would be discrete. This one would be continuous. That's the answer for number 6. Number 7, it says to graph the function rule. So look at our function we have. You have y equals absolute value of x plus 3. Because those bars mean absolute value, our graph has to represent an absolute value function. So that tells me it's not going to be a or c. An absolute value function is in the shape of a v. Now we have this plus 3 here. Since it's on the outside of the function, it means I'm going to be shifting my graph up. This one is shifting it down and flipping it upside down. This one is shifting it up, so it has to be D. That's number 7. 8. Graph the function rule. We have y equals x to the third minus 1. A function where its largest exponent is x to the third is going to be a cubic function. So that tells me right away it's not going to be D because that's a parabola. That's when the largest exponent is a 2, or x squared function, or quadratic. This minus 1 on the outside means we're shifting it down 1 from the center, since the parent function starts in the middle. So shifting it down 1 won't be B, that's shifting it up. This one is shifting it to the right for A, so your answer would have to be C. So the answer for number 8 is C. 9. We are graphing the function y equals negative x squared. Now when we have a negative in front of the function, it means we're flipping it upside down. So that means it'll either be C or D. Since our exponent is 2, it means it's going to be quadratic, which means its graph is going to be a parabola, so that means it has to be C. D would be the graph of an absolute value function. So your answer for number 9 is going to be C. 10. The amount a basketball coach spends at a sporting goods store depends on the number of basketballs the coach buys. The situation is represented by the function rule A equals 14b. So first thing we got to do under A is to make a table of values and graph it. So let's go ahead and do that. What we need to do is take the value for B, which in our case represents X, and see what we get for A. So we're basically multiplying each of these numbers by 14. So you have 0 times 14 is 0, 1 times 14 is 14, 2 times 14 is 28, 3 times 14 is 42, and 14 times 4 is 56. So let's type that in and look for our graph. So typing it in, I have 0 here, then I have 14, then 28, then 42, then 56. Now we're graphing the function rule. We see our values are increasing, so it has to be either A or D. Now, our situation is involving basketballs, and we can't have a part of a basketball, so it has to be a whole number coordinate, which means it can't be D, meaning all the values in between whole number points, which would be continuous over here. It would have to be the discrete graph for A. Now, that answers the question here, is the graph continuous or discrete? It is going to be discrete because only whole number values of B have meaning, because like I said, we can't have a part of a basketball. Now, it's asking how many basketballs she bought, so we got to substitute in 98 in for dollars, so let's do that. So, $98, that represents A. A is money, B is basketballs. So we put it in for A, and then we solve for B. So we divide both sides by 14, and we get the number of basketballs she bought to spend $98 is 7, so 7 basketballs. So let's type that in. Typing in 7, and that's the answer for number 10.